It's recording. Okay, I'm starting the CDL pre-trip, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to inspect my seat belt. I'm looking for frays or any damage to the fabric, and there is none. I'm going to clip it into the buckle, make sure that's holding, and make sure that the safety stop is working. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is my safety equipment. I have 3 triangles in the orange box over there. I've inspected them and they're in good condition. I have a 9-item first aid kit with a spill kit in it, and it's all there. It's in good condition. I have a fire extinguisher that is ABS. The safety pin, the security pin is there. The gauge is in the green, the tag is up to date, and it's mounted securely to the floor. So that's in good condition. Up here I have a fuse box, but we're not allowed access to that at Van Buren Transit. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is a safe start. And what that means is I'm going to make sure that the vehicle is in park. Step on the emergency brake, put my foot on the hydraulic brake, and start the vehicle. Then it starts right up. Okay, the next thing I'm doing is I'm looking at my gauges here. My oil pressure gauge is evenly split between the low and the high, so that's in good condition. My temperature gauge is cold now, but it'll run in between the two, and that's in good shape. We don't have air brakes or air system on this bus, so we don't have an air gauge. And the ammeter is on an indicator light. And when we first started the bus, all the indicator lights came on and they went off. When they go off, it indicates that the system is in good working order. And I noticed the ammeter gauge and also the ABS brake lights both came on and went off. So that's that. The next thing I'm going to check is my indicator lights, and I'm going to start with the left turn, right turn. 4-ways are both working. High beam is working. Other indicator lights I have are the link lights for the ramp, and then my cabin function lights all have little indicator lights, and they're in good working order. Okay. Next, I'm going to go to the vehicle functions. It's a horn, and that obviously is working well. I'm going to turn on the fan on defrost. I'm going to feel up here to make sure there's a good blast air there, and it is. It's in good shape. I'm looking at my 5 mirrors. I have 2 on the inside. This passenger mirror is mounted securely in good working order and adjusted properly. This rear view mirror is in good working order, nothing broken, and it's mounted securely. I'm looking at the outside mirrors right now just to see if there's any obstructions, any broken or missing glass, and there's not. And that one, the nose mirror is in good shape, and the driver's side mirror is all in good working condition. Next, I'm going to look at the windshield. I'm looking for the seal around it to make sure that there's nothing leaking. Checking to make sure it's mounted securely. Also, I'm looking for any chips or cracks in it that might cause a problem, that might spread. So it's not, it's all in good condition. I'm looking at the windshield wipers now, and got them on. I'm looking at the blades to make sure that they're not separating, that they're still making good contact with the windshield. The wipers are operating properly, and I'm going to check the washers, make sure they're in good shape. So that's all in good condition. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to check is I have 3 brake checks. I have my parking brake check, so I have to release the brake, put the vehicle in neutral with my foot on the hydraulic brake, set the parking brake, put the vehicle in drive, and just tap the gas pedal, and the vehicle should not move, and it doesn't, so that's in good working order. I'm going to put it back back in park. I'm going to check my hydraulic brake now. I'm going to pump the pedal 3 times and hold it down for 5 seconds, and it should not fade. And it does not, so that's in good working order. Now my last brake check is a service brake check. That's one where I put it in gear and I move the vehicle 3 to 5 miles an hour and hit the brakes briskly, and the vehicle shouldn't pull from one side to the other. It should stay nice and straight. That's kind of an ABS check, and this vehicle does that. So that takes care of the inside of the bus. So now we'll move to the engine compartment. Remember to take the key with you when you leave the bus. Now normally I'd open the hood, but this one was already open. So we'll go out here. Now I'm going to start by checking my engine oil with this dipstick right here. What I do is I pull it all the way out, wipe it off, I seat it all the way back down in, then when I pull it out again, I check the oil level, and it should be between the add and the full mark. If it's below the add mark, I add oil over here. I'm checking my fluids over here. Here's my brake fluid. It's mounted securely, caps on tight, and I can see that the fluid is between the add and full mark, so we're in good shape there. Here's my coolant. It is also mounted securely. My fluid is between the add and the full mark, and the caps on tight. My power steering, same situation, mounted securely, caps good, and I can see that the fluid is between the low and the add, or the low and the full mark. So that's in good condition. Now I'm going to look down here at my brake, at my water pump, and look and see if there's any bolts missing or if anything is leaking down in there, which would cause a problem, and there's not. So that's in good shape. I'm looking at my alternator, looking at the wire connections because that's an electrical device. It's mounted securely. All the wires, there's no wires with missing insulation or corrosion or broken wires, so the alternator is in good shape. I'm looking at my serpentine belt, which drives all of our devices in this vehicle, and it appears to be in good shape. I'm looking for frays or any cracks in the belt, any worn, obviously worn parts, and there is none. I'm looking to make sure that the play is not more than 3/4 of an inch. So that's in good working order. So now I'm going to do an overview of the entire engine. And first I'm looking at hoses. I'm looking for loose clamps, bulges in hose, anything leaking, any cracks, and there are none. It's all in good condition. And I'm going to do an overview of the wiring. I'm looking for corrosion, broken wires, missing insulation, anything not hooked up, and I don't see any problems there. It's all in good condition. So now that's pretty much the engine. I'm going to go to the steering system. I'm looking at the steering shaft down here, and it doesn't appear to be damaged. There is one bolt that holds it together, and it's nice and tight, and that goes down to my steering box. And my steering box is mounted securely. I don't see any damage to it. It's got 2 hoses coming out of it. They're both mounted securely, not leaking, so they're in good working order. Okay, so now I'm going to come down here, finish the steering. I'm looking at my pitman arm right down there, and the bolt's in good shape. Everything's in good condition down there. There's no damage to that. I'm looking at the drag link, which goes to the other side. It's not damaged. All the clamps are in good shape, and it's mounted securely the other side. I'm looking at the tie rod, which is that big shaft down there, and it's in good shape. It joins these two. It's in good shape. All the bolts and adjustment clamps are there, and the ball joints on each end are good. And I'm going to be looking at the steering knuckle. I'm just looking for the upper and lower ball joints to make sure that they're nice and secure and there's no damage visible anywhere. Next thing I'm going to do is the brakes. I see my brake line right there. The ABS and the fluid lines are in good shape. They're mounted securely, no problems. They run down to the caliper. Now the caliper is mounted with 2 bolts. They're both there and they're both tight, and I'm looking for any leaking around the caliper, and there's not, so it's in good shape. I look inside the caliper for the pads, and they need to be a minimum of 1/4 inch thick, and they are. And I'm looking at the rotor out here. There's no gouges or discoloration indicating that it would have been too hot, and that the rotor's nice and shiny, so that's in good shape. Looking at my suspension system, I got a coil spring up here. The spring itself is not cracked or damaged or bent in any way. The lower mount, which is a welded mount, is in good shape, no rust, nothing broken. There's a mounting pan up here with the bolts. The bolts are all in good shape. The actual rubber mount is in good shape, so that whole system is good. I'm looking at my shock absorber. The upper and lower grommets are there, the bolts are there. It's in good shape, and the shock is not bent or leaking. So that's in good condition. I'm looking at my sway bar. It's mounted securely with the sway bar link is in good shape, mounted securely. So that's all in good shape. So next I'm going to move out to my tire. So the tread has to be a minimum of 4/32, and it is. This tire's in good shape. I'm making sure that it's wearing evenly, and it is, and there's nothing stuck in the tire that I can see. I'm looking at my sidewall to make sure there's no bulges or cuts that could cause a problem on the road, and not. It's in good shape. I'm moving down to my rim. I'm looking for any dents, cracks, or welds, and there are none, so that's in good shape. I'm looking at my lug nuts. I make sure they're all there. And I'm looking for any rust trails or metal shavings or any shiny metal parts that would indicate that this is loose, and it's not, so they all appear to be good and tight. I check my valve stem, make sure it's mounted securely, and this is where I check my tire inflation with the gauge I have with me. So that's all in good shape. There is no hub seal on the front, and my mud flap mounted securely, not damaged, it's in good working order. So that's that.